The rice plant belongs to the genus Oryza of Gramineae family. The genus Oryza has 24 species, of which 22 are wild and 2 species, namely Oryza sativa and Oryza glaberrima, are cultivated. All the varieties found in Asia, America and Europe belong to Oryza sativa, and varieties found in West Africa belong to the species Oryza glaberrima. Sativa rice varieties of the world are commonly grouped into 3 subspecies, namely Indica, Japonica, Javanica. Rice grown in India belongs to the Indica. The varieties developed in Japan belongs to Japonica, and Javanica are cultivated mainly in Indonesia. Cultivation cultural practices. Types of rice cultivation. In India, rice is cultivated mainly on 2 types of soils, uplands and lowlands. Upland rice cultivation. In this method, 2 sowing methods are followed. 1. Drilling. 2. Broadcasting. Lowland rice cultivation. 1. Cultivation in puddled soil. In this one, transplanting of plants is A. Nursery or traditional method, B. Dapog method, C. System of rice intensification, that is SRI. The second one is direct seeding method. In that one, A. Sowing in line, B. Broadcast. 2. Cultivation of rice in unpuddled lands by sowing seeds in dry soils. In that one, 1 is by drilling, 2 is broadcasting. A. Upland rice cultivation. The upland rice cultivation is mostly adopted in areas which receive an annual rainfall of 800 to 1000 mm and irrigation facilities are not available. In the system of cultivation, farmer has to depend on rainwater. A vast tract of paddy in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Orissa, parts of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh is under rain-fed upland situation. In this one, field preparation. After harvesting the rabi crop in April-May, the field should be plowed with the soil turning plow. The field should be prepared and bunch should be made around the field just after the first shower of monsoon. This will check loss of rainwater by runoff. Growing seasons. The Indian cropping season is classified into 2 main seasons, Kharif and Rabi, based on the monsoon. The Kharif cropping season is from July to October during the southwest monsoon, and the Rabi cropping season is from October to March, that is winter. The crops grown between March and June are summer crops. In North India, the 3 seasons of rice are named as Oz or autumn rice, Aman or winter rice, or Baro or spring or summer rice. Sowing methods. The crop must be sown soon after the monsoon sets in and 15 to 20 cm deep soil layer becomes completely wet. The ideal time is between end of June and first week of July. If the sowing is delayed, crop is adversely affected because of soil and atmospheric drought due to aberrant weather conditions during the grain filling stage. This results in shriveling grains of poor quality. Seed rate and spacing. Under upland conditions, drilling or line sowing is always better than broadcast because line sowing facilitates the cultural operations and enables to identify the weeds even at the early stage for weeding purpose. Usually, sprouted seed should be sown in rows 30 cm apart at a depth not more than 5 cm. The moisture stress condition may result in poor germination. Therefore, about 25% higher seed rate than the recommended rate should be used. That is 100 to 120 kg per hectare. Drill the seeds with the seed drill or behind the plow with the help of funnel in rows after applying fertilizer. The row-to-row distance should be 20 cm. About 60 kg of seed is required per hectare. For obtaining an uniform plant population and higher crop yields, it is advisable to thin out the excess plants or re-sowing in gaps in the rows after about 2 to 3 weeks of sowing. B. Wet or lowland rice cultivation. This system of rice cultivation is practiced in areas having an assured and adequate supply of water. In this system, sprouted seeds may be directly sown in puddled field or the crop may be transplanted with seedlings raised in a nursery. Method of raising seedlings. There are 3 methods of raising seedlings. 1. Wet nursery. Wet nurseries are preferred under irrigated conditions. The soil is puddled by 2 to 3 runs of puddlers or 3 to 4 plowings with country plow. After 2 days of puddling, divide the nursery area into narrow beds of 1.25 meter width and of convenient length. Prepare the drainage channel 30 cm wide in between the beds. Apply 225 gram urea and 500 gram single superphosphate per 10 square meter of area. Uniformly broadcast about 2 to 3 handful of desired seed on a square meter of seed bed. Keep the seed beds saturated with water up to 50 cm as the seedling grow. Adopt suitable control measures for insect pest and disease inspection. Drain the excess water in periods of heavy rainfall. 50 gram urea per square meter may be applied as top dressing in case of nitrogen deficiency symptoms. Seedlings would be ready for transplanting within 20 to 25 days after sowing. Dry nursery. This method is adopted in areas where water is not sufficient to grow seedlings in wet nurseries. Plow the field till the soil is thoroughly pulverized. Prepare the beds of the same as in wet nurseries, but 15 cm high with the channels 30 cm wide between them. Sow the seeds in rows 10 cm apart in dry or moist condition of the soil. The seeds should be covered immediately with a layer of soil. Use the same seed rate and fertilizer as in wet nurseries. Allow the water to run in channels first and then raise the level of water slowly to saturate the soil. Keep the seed bed saturated with water, but do not flood water in beds. Follow all the operations as described for wet nurseries. Dapog method. Dapog method is a soil-less method of raising rice seedlings. In this method, beds of about 1.5 meter width are prepared on an even but slightly raised 4 to 5 cm surface in an open field or even a cement floor. About 1 square meter of seed bed is required for every 3 kg of seed. Cover the soil surface of the seed bed uniformly with banana leaves protruding midribs removed or plastic sheets. Carefully lay strips of banana bracts into the soil to keep bracts upright and firm. The sprouted seeds are broadcast uniformly at the rate of 1.5 kg per square meter area. The beds are kept moist constantly and pressed slightly 2 to 3 times a day with a smooth wooden plank for the first 3 days, so that root remains in constant touch with the water. When the seedlings attain 2 cm height, a constant film of water should be maintained. In about 12 days, roots are well developed and are entangled with one another. The nursery can be cut into strips and rolled like a mat and then transferred to the planting site easily. Seedlings of 1 square meter area can be transplanted in 200 square meter area. Advantages: the seedlings raised by this method are established immediately. The crop comes to flower 4 days earlier than normal planted crop. At the event of drought or failure of irrigated system, this system offers a good scope to get another lot of fresh seedling within 12 days. The above nursery method does not require seed bed preparation, fertilizer, or other chemicals used for raising the seedling. The labor cost in seedling uprooting is saved as the whole mat of seedling or polythene is lifted, rooted, and straightaway transferred to the transplanting site. Disadvantages: seed rate is exceptionally high, 2.5 times more than other methods. Seedlings being very small cannot be transplanted in presence of even slight water in the field, which sometimes become unavoidable. 3 to 4 seedlings are to be transplanted per hill instead of 2. Economic benefits: rice is the most important crop of India and it occupies 23.3% of gross cropped area of the country. Rice contributes 43% of total food grain production and 46% of total cereal production. It plays a vital role in the national food grain supply. It is the staple food of nearly half of the world population. It ranks third after wheat and maize in terms of worldwide production. Asia accounts for 90% and 92% of world's rice area and production respectively. Thus, rice production, consumption, and trade are concentrated in Asia. 1/3 of Asia's rice production is consumed in China and 1/5 in India. Among the rice-growing countries in the world, India has the largest area under rice crop, about 45 million hectares, and ranks second in production next to China. India and China together accounts for 56% of the total production and about 50% of world's area under rice. Other important rice-producing countries are Indonesia 8.8%, Bangladesh 4.9%, Vietnam 4.6%, Myanmar 3.3%, Thailand 3.7%, Japan 2.2%, Brazil 1.6%. United States of America has 1.4%, Russian Federation 0.1%. Yield parameters: a well-managed crop of mid-late duration, that is 135 to 150 days of duration, varieties like IR8, IR20, Jaya, etc. and hybrids yield about 6 to 7 metric tons of grain per hectare, whereas short duration cultivars yield about 4.5 to 5.5 metric tons of grain per hectare. The milling percentage is about 60 to 65%. Straw yield of 8 to 10 metric ton per hectare can be normally obtained. 5. Special type of rice. Rice are classified into different types based on length and shape, texture, color, and aroma. 1. Length and shape. Long grain rice. This rice has milled grain that are at least 3 to 4 times as long as they are wide. Due to its starch composition, it is separate, light and fluffy when cooked. Medium grain rice. When compared to long grain rice, medium grain rice has a shorter, wider kernel. Since the cooked grains are more moist and tender than long grain rice, the rice has a greater tendency to stick together. Short grain rice, featuring grains that are less than twice as long as they are wide. This rice is short and best for sushi of Japan. It has a sticky texture when cooked. 2. Based on texture. Sticky rice, also known as sweet rice. Sticky rice is grown mainly in Southeast and East Asia. When cooked, sticky rice is especially sticky and is often ground into rice flour. Para-boiled rice. The paddy is steamed before milling that gelatinizes the starch in the grain. This process produces a more separate grain that is light and fluffy when cooked. 3. Based on color. Polished rice. White rice that has had its outer brown layer of bran and germ removed. Brown rice. This healthy rice sheds its outer husk and retains its bran and germ layers that give it a characteristic tan color. Though brown rice takes a little longer time to cook than white rice, the nutrient-dense layers are rich in vitamins and minerals. Forbidden rice, high in nutritional value. This rice is also known as black rice and has a mild nutty flavor. It is black and long-grained rice. Based on aroma. Aroma is another factor to consider when cooking with rice. Certain rice varieties give off pleasing fragrances while being cooked. Basmati rice. Basmati rice is a type of long-grain Indian rice. When cooked, this rice gives characteristic aroma. Jasmine rice. Jasmine rice, sometimes known as Thai fragrant rice, is a type of long-grain rice with a long kernel and slightly sticky texture when cooked. Rajarajan 1000 SRI. SRI is an acronym for System of Rice Intensification. This intensive method of rice cultivation was developed in 1983 in Madagascar and has now spread to many parts of the world. This system is modified according to local requirement and called Rajarajan 1000 method in Tamil Nadu. This method has almost doubled the average yield of rice. The key factors in Rajarajan 1000. The factors are: a plant should have more number of tillers, the number of effective tillers should be higher, panicle length and number of grains per panicle should be higher, the grain weight should be more, the roots should have extensive and healthy growth. To achieve these factors, the following aspects are considered. Wide planting. With wide spacing, each plant gets more space, air and sunlight. As a result, each plant gives more tillers. The roots would grow healthily and extensively and take in more nutrients. As the plant is strong and healthy, the number of tillers would be more. The panicle length would be more. The panicle has more number of grains and the grain weight would be more. Varieties used. Hybrids and varieties with heavy tillering are used. Less seed. As wide spacing is adopted, the seed requirement would be less. This results in the advantages mentioned above. Further, It is easy to use and produce quality seed. Transplanting young seedling. The seedling should be transplanted when it is in two-leaf stage. When the seedling is transplanted carefully in the stage, it grows healthy and generates more number of tillers. It can achieve the potential of giving higher yield. Less water. When the water is stagnating in the field, the roots die due to lack of air. The dead roots are brown, rusty in color. The soil should have soil particles, air and moisture in equal proportions. The paddy plant can survive even when there is standing water, but for a healthy paddy plant, water should not be in stagnated situation in the field. When irrigation is provided intermittently, the roots are aerated and grow healthily. Turning back the weeds into soil. Instead of weeding and throwing the weeds outside the plot, there are several advantages of turning the weeds into the soil by using a weeder. This results in two advantages. Firstly, the soil gets aerated, and secondly, the weeds get decomposed in the soil and turn into organic matter. Due to this, the roots and the plant grow healthily and higher yields can be achieved. Use of organic manures. Organic matter is the food for life forms teeming in the soil. When organic matter is added, the microorganisms in the soil multiply manifold. The microorganisms bring nutrients into available form and are made available to them as and when they are needed. Harvesting. Rice varieties take about 100 to 150 days to mature. The proper stage for harvesting is when about 80% spikelets in 80% panicles show ripening. Timely harvesting ensures quality and consumer acceptance. The plants should be cut close to the ground and left in the field for a few days to dry. Later on, these should be collected in bundles and tagged for thrashing. Threshing and storage. Wastage during threshing and winnowing of paddy is minimized by suitable technologies. The produce should be properly dried in the sun before storage. The optimum moisture content for storage of rice grain is 12%. Advantages of Rajarajan 1000. There are several advantages such as saving on seed cost as the seed requirement is less, saving on water as irrigated dry method is followed, cost of external inputs get reduced as chemical fertilizers and pesticides are not used, incidence of pests and diseases is low as the soil is allowed to dry intermittently, more healthy and tasty rice as a result of organic farming practices, higher yields due to profuse tillering, increased panicle length and grain weight. Seed multiplication with less quantity of parent seed, farmers can produce their own quality seed. Transgenic rice. Transgenic rice or genetically modified rice or GM rice are rice strains that have their genes artificially altered by genetic engineering techniques. Genome of rice plants have been modified to increase micronutrients such as vitamin A, accelerate photosynthesis, tolerate herbicides, resist pests, increase grain, generate nutrients, flavors, or produce human proteins. Herbicide resistance. The glyphosate tolerance gene is incorporated into rice genome. Golden rice. Golden rice produces higher concentrations of vitamin A. This genetically modified rice is capable of producing beta-carotene in the endosperm, that is grain, which is a precursor for vitamin A. Pest resistance. Bt rice is modified to express the Cry1AB gene of the Bacillus thuringiensis bacterium. The gene confers resistance to a variety of pests, including the rice borer, through the production of endotoxins. Allergy resistance. Allergen AS albumin genes are silenced in this variety. Human serum albumin HSA producing rice. HSA is a blood protein in human blood plasma. It is used to treat severe burns, liver cirrhosis, and hemorrhagic shock. Scientists put recombinant HSA protein promoters gene into rice genome. C4 photosynthesis rice. C4 plants capture carbon dioxide and concentrate it in specialized leaf cells and use this carbon dioxide to increase growth and yield. Many genes are involved in C4 photosynthesis. India has developed two Bt rice transgenic varieties of IR64 and Pusa Basmati 1. Hybrid rice. Inbred varieties. Most varieties of rice grown by farmers are inbred rice varieties. This means that the seed and subsequent crop from succeeding generations produced by the inbred variety will have the same genetic makeup as the parent crop. Rice is a self-pollinating plant. Each rice flower contains both male and female parts, which allow each flower to pollinate itself without the need of another flower or other rice plants. Self-pollination is a natural and normal process. Farmers can save seed from their own crop of inbred rice and replant it again, knowing it will have the same properties as its parent crop. Hybrid variety is a variety of rice that has been bred from two very different parents. The seed from the first cross of two different parents is the hybrid variety. Hybrid rice breeding first requires identifying two optimal parents that, when crossed together, produce a hybrid with desirable attributes including higher yield and resistance. Because rice is self-pollinating, crossing the two different parents is difficult and requires one of the parents to have sterile pollen or male sterility, so it can accept the pollen from another variety. Male sterility is a genetically controlled trait that can be incorporated into a parent line of rice for breeding purpose. The male sterile parent can then be pollinated by the other parent, which is fully fertile, creating the cross that results in a hybrid. Directorate of Rice Development in India has released 78 hybrid rice varieties for different agroclimatic conditions of India. Conclusion. The rice plant belongs to the genus Oryza of Gramineae family. Rice are classified into different types based on their length, shape, texture, color, and aroma. Basmati is India's world-famous aromatic rice. In India, rice is cultivated mainly on two types of soil, uplands and lowlands. In upland, the seed is sown by drilling or broadcasting method. Lowland cultivation is in puddled land or unpuddled land. In puddled land, seeds are directly sown or transplanted from nursery. One system, Rajarajan 1000 method, is followed in Tamil Nadu. This method has almost double the average yield of rice. The key factors in Rajarajan 1000 system: a plant should have more number of tillers, the number of effective tillers should be higher, panicle length and number of grains per panicle should be higher, the grain weight should be more, the roots should have extensive and healthy growth. To achieve these factors, the optimization in each step of cultural practices are considered. Transgenic rice or genetically modified rice or GM rice are rice strains that have their genes artificially altered by genetic engineering techniques. Genome of rice plants have been modified to increase micronutrients such as vitamin A, accelerate photosynthesis, tolerate herbicides, resist pests, increase grain, generate nutrients, flavors, or produce human proteins. A hybrid rice is a variety of rice that has been bred from two very different parents. Directorate of Rice Development in India has released 78 hybrid rice varieties for different agroclimatic conditions of India.